Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to I'm on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron, and this is episode 155, and I can't believe the guest that we have today. It was something I was working on for the last 3 months. All it took was one phone call, because he's a phone call guy. Today on the show, former WWF Superstar, Ahmed Johnson. That's right. The very first African-American Intercontinental Champion, the former Big T of Harlem Heat 2000. He's going to be chatting with us today. And if you've heard interviews with Ahmed in the past, I encourage you to try this one out because I feel like we get a very different side of Ahmed Johnson. It is a fun interview. I enjoyed talking to... Well, thank you for the applause. I appreciate that. Video audience. Oh, okay. All right.
Just like Petty Harris, was it just like you from Paris? Get hot, get
Pardon the interruption.
What's up?
It's Aaron Bauer.
Hey.
I'm here.
Hi.
I'm here. I'm right here.
Good to see you.
I'm so here for you, Greg.
Why? I don't need you to be.
Yeah, you needed me. Last week it was so weird.
Yeah, I was sick.
That too.
What else was weird?
It was just a weird week.
Why? What happened?
I ate some weird food.
What did you eat?
Saw some weird bees.
What?
Yeah. Things are weird in my world.
Wait a minute. Why? What do you mean weird bees? What does that
They were
even mean?
bees, and they were weird.
What?
There was weird, black weird ones, man, coming after me.
Black weird bees?
Yeah.
Are there just plain black bees?
I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of a wasp or a hornet or a yellow jacket or a black jacket, gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit?
Okay. But they came after you.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. They come around this time of year at my in my home. So right in the neighborhood. Usually I have a bee guy.
Okay.
And then he'll come over and he'll find the nest, the home, and he'll get out the house, and then he rehomes the beehive.
When you talk to him, when he comes over to do this,
Yeah.
does he say hello to the bee guy when he shows up?
Yeah.
Did he say that?
He said that the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He showed up on a motorcycle like Undertaker. like American Badass Undertaker.
Does he look like him?
He's got long hair.
Okay, that.
And he was wearing a
qualifies, I guess.
bandana.
All right, that'll do it.
Okay, yeah. And then he got off his bike, and I immediately thought Undertaker, but then he brought out like his bee equipment. So like he was in like that big white bee suit.
Okay. You're not allergic to bees, are you?
My dad is deathly allergic to bees, and I have a slight allergy.
Okay.
Like my face and throat will swell up and close, but that's it. I mean,
Oh, not a big deal.
yeah.
I just don't want to have to worry about you getting my girled. We don't want that.
Oh no, we never want that.
We don't want
That
that.
ruined the whole movie for me. Now I know why they change endings when after a test in the market.
You know, I got to go back and relive My Girl. I used to watch it a lot as a kid, but I don't know if I've ever watched My Girl 2. How do you follow that up?
He comes back.
No, I don't. He's not in the movie.
Is it a prequel?
It's not. No, prequels were
I've
not
never seen it.
really big things back then. But I've never seen My Girl 2. But now I feel like I have to watch it just because it's
Who's
like
in it?
the same girl from the first one, but not Macaulay Culkin because he died
Yeah.
in the first one.
What about Kieran Culkin or whatever his little brother's name
Oh,
is?
that might have been a good call.
Yeah.
His acting career wasn't quite taking off at that point. I mean, he's more popular now, clearly, than he was back then. But how was your weekend? Anything of note other than bees?
Not only were there tons of B's here, but there were tons of D's too.
D's? I'm sorry.
D's nuts right
No.
on your face and your hair.
Okay, that's not true.
Oh, and also, I'll save the story, I guess, for later, but
Okay.
because we'll talk about it during the, we do this part where we plug certain products.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I had an experience with one this weekend that you are not going to want to miss out on.
Okay. Well, you know what? You're not going to want to miss out on this Ahmed Johnson interview. Can you believe I
Yeah,
got Ahmed on the
speaking of
podcast?
shaving Manscaped style, what about Johnson?
I mean, are you shocked that he's someone that I got on the show? I mean, it's a pretty
One,
rare name.
yes, I'm shocked because I know that you have connections,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know you had those kind of connections. So I do have to applaud you on that. Also, spoiler alert, I already watched the interview because it was uploaded to the account.
Yeah.
And I had the Facebook and the what's the other thing that we use? Oh, YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, I
yes.
had those passwords, so I watched.
Oh, okay. Well,
I never listened to the interviews beforehand. I always listen to them right here, right now,
uh-huh.
during the show.
Well, I want to talk about, because we're probably going to cut to the interview with Ahmed a little early, but I want to talk about how the interview was after more than we usually do, just because, in the words of one Aaron Bauer, it was a breath of fresh air. I felt like.
Yeah.
I feel like Ahmed maybe gets a lot of flack on the internet, and maybe some of it is unjustified.
Okay.
So we will talk more about that in a little bit. But I wanted to go to the hotline, the Iron on Wrestling voicemail line, and play something for you.
Oh, okay.
Because something for Emily, something for all the listeners out there. Because I feel like we don't go to the voicemail line often enough. And I mean, anybody can call the voicemail line. All you got to do is pick up your phone.
Okay.
Make sure you get your parents' permission and dial 252.
Wait.
You don't have to do this right now. I'm talking to a listening audience. 252-696-IRON. That's 252-696-IRON. You can leave a voicemail 24/7, up to 3 minutes in length. So don't go too crazy. But, leave anything entertaining. A fun story, a nice message, whatever you want to say. And we actually got a phone call from one of your personal favorite people. One, hardcore Michael Hawley. It was very random that he called, but I'm happy that he did. And so I'm going to play this right here, right now, for everybody on the show. And then we will translate via Google Voice what Google Voice believes that he said. Aaron, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, guys, if you I need to put in, I had a dream about becoming my professional wrestler. Yeah, I know this is going to make you feel crazy, and it's going to entertainer. I know anything about Chris Jericho. Jericho is just solid. Losing his some name. I need a big game. North member AW Worcester. I know you think you feel. And that's the guy I am now.
Okay. Still going.
It's hard. I can do. And I will go on your episode.
Okay, that was. Oh.
The Greg and about Aaron about me Hall of Fame.
Okay.
It's a great time in my entire life. The Monkey Book Club is there strong. We are better fraction than anybody else.
Okay, that was hardcore.
And
Michael.
now-
All right. Still going.
Okay. I'll be ready. And beat and to grab. Coming up on June 4th. I'll be ready. And now, Greg, Aaron, what is with my awesome matches? What do you say? We are hard, cool, corporation.
Okay, that was hardcore. All right. He's still going.
Not stop us and anybody else. It's just for reflections and money broke up, but it cannot stop. We're better than ever. We're better. Each tag team to
Okay, he's cut off there.
Apparently there's only a 17-minute limit on the message that you can leave.
3 minutes. What I gathered from that, for the most part, is he had a dream. He was on Raw roster, I think he said. Something to do with Me and You. Hardcore Corporation, which was a group that we would talk about very often. We worked together at the Murray Ridge Center. He apparently was inducted in the Hall of Fame, he mentioned. So I think he might have been thanking people for his Hall of Fame induction.
At Mega, I inducted him.
Okay.
Did we talk about this on the last show?
We didn't. We talked about it off air, I think. But tell the listening audience.
Well, after everything had shut down, the show was over. The crowd was leaving. Hardcore Holly was packing the T-shirts back in a box at the merch table, and I said, "All right, Hardcore, we're gonna leave now." And he said, "What? Actually, I would not inducted into a Hall of Fame."
Well, you can't just ask to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
And I said, "What? The Hall of Fame?" And he said, "This was my big night. I wore a polo T-shirt."
Very, very dressy.
So, as the crowd left, I called Michael to the ring as the ring crew was taking the ring down. I had Michael stand in front of it, and over the microphone, I inducted Hardcore Holly into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
He then proceeded to take the microphone and exclaim that Hardcore Holly is in the Hall of Fame and he is retired.
Oh, wow.
But there's a new professional wrestler named Gargano Hellborn.
Okay. He changed his name to Gargano Hellborn.
Yeah, so he retired Hardcore Holly. Hardcore Holly retired, but now there's another wrestler.
Okay. So the reason why he's calling himself Hellborn is because what was it, last year, we had to get together with the PWO guys. We talked about it on the show. He was life of the party. He heard that I had my first match with a guy by the name of Michael Hellborn. So that since his name was Michael, he thought he was going to change his name to Michael Hellborn.
He told everyone there that he was actually Michael Hellborn.
Yes.
And Michael Hellborn, who's, what, 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah.
Okay. And Hardcore Holly, who's 5'2", 5'3".
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so now, apparently, he proclaimed that he's going to go by his real name.
And he wants to defend his family's honor. And the last name, Gargano.
Okay, so
he wants to defend it so badly.
That his first name
That
is now
he's-
Gargano.
Yeah.
And then his last name is Hellborn.
Right.
Wow. And that's his real name.
Yeah.
Much like Hugh Morris denounced his fake name and wanted to go by his real name, Huge Erection. So, very similar. Well, I actually have the translation from Google Voice of what Michael Hawley actually said, so we can hear it. So I'm going to read it for us now. Hello. Thank God. I had a dream. Yeah, I know. Let me give them big crazy, and I know nothing about a month ago. There goes the exotic. I need that would-be game feel. I got in now. I don't blueberry. Who knows me hard, I can get you. I will. You guys in your greatest? Saying you Craig Kaboomy, Hannah Payne, and my daughter Life and Money. Is there from you seeing anybody else? I know. Don't know if I'll be ready. Nikki grabbed me going on, but I'll be ready. And now, Craig, and from what do you do when my matches? What would you say? We are cool. Cool. No one can stop us, anybody else. It did Reagan, the money broke. Can I stop? We better than ever. We better. So that apparently is what Michael Hawley said. Thank you, Google Translate. Appreciate that.
He talked about his previous faction, Hardcore Corporation.
Uh-huh.
Okay, he also talked about the new faction that he's part of. That's what he was saying in there.
Oh, okay.
And it was Money Boy Club.
Money Boy Club.
Yeah. So Money Boy Club is it started off as Soda Pop Johnson, which is AKA Podcast Superstar Jerry, myself, and Gargano Hellborn. Okay, and then by intermission, he had inducted Joey Vincent Martini, was the newest member.
Former Iron Curtain member.
Yes. And then 4.5 minutes later, he inducted the next member.
Okay.
Which was a wrestler I had never seen before, but he was a wrestler that was walking around backstage with the belt around on his
Okay,
way.
so just some random guy.
So I told Hardcore make sure that guy was inducted into our faction,
Sounds about right.
and then the rest of the roster by the end of the show.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Quite the stable.
Yeah, he's the leader.
When we talk about having audio translated, promos translated, it makes me think of our guest today, Ahmed Johnson.
Man,
He
that
had
was smooth.
he had a very intense promo style.
Yeah.
He really did. But one would argue that at times it might have been a little hard to understand what he was saying because there was just so much intensity packed.
It was almost warrior-esque.
Could be. One of his more famous promo, or multiple promos, were conducted in the video game WWF Warzone. Aaron, did you ever play that game?
No, I didn't.
Did you ever solve that game?
I never solved that one.
Okay, well,
It turns out nobody really ever said that.
go figure.
I did some research.
Back in the infancy of YouTube, one of the very first semi-viral videos that people would watch for entertainment purposes was Ahmed Johnson's rants from Warzone. Now, the PlayStation version, before every match, if you, I believe it was before you'd fight that individual in the tournament to go towards the WWF Championship, you would get a rant from the person that you were going to face. And there were multiple rants that you would get depending on, when you would face them at random. They would play one of these. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to play...
You have the game.
Huh?
Oh, I thought you had the game here.
No, I'm going to play...
we were going to play the game.
No, I'm going to play the rants from YouTube, and then I'm going to read the translation as to what they thought Ahmed was saying in these promos. And if you haven't seen these promos for yourself, go to YouTube.
Is Bam Bam Bigelow in the game?
No, this was made in 1998.
98.
In the WWF.
Okay. Then I want to be... was Brian Christopher a playable character?
There was like 12 characters in this game. This was before you had mega rosters.
Mankind?
I don't think Mick was in this game.
Kane?
Kane might have been in it.
Okay, I always enjoyed playing as either Kane or Taz.
Okay, Taz not an option.
Yeah, I figured. But Perry Saturn?
No.
Definitely not an option. Okay, not until 2000. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could have been Bret Hart, even though he'd been gone from the company for some time. He was still in the game.
Okay.
But I'm going to play this first rant, and I want you to try to guess what he's saying here. Okay?
Yep.
Here we go. Fun with Ahmed, Part 1.
Get ready to let that stupid hood grin off your face, because it's time to meet the real superstar of WWF. I'm gonna beat you, and no one gonna come save the sorry carcass. Just make sure we got plenty of insurance. Call.
Okay. What do you think the internet thinks Ahmed said in that rant?
I mean, I'd have to break it down. Like, you'd have to stop it after every few seconds.
Okay.
Because I thought so much, and then I was like, oh, we're still going. Oh, wait a minute. Now what's he saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now he's talking about insurance. So something about switching to a different insurance company. But in the beginning, he talked about the Fink. I heard him say something about the Fink.
Okay.
And then in the middle of that, he had said something about IcoPro.
Okay. I'm going to read what exactly he said
Mm-hmm.
according to Fun with Ahmed, Part 1. Get ready. Do wop dot stupid grilly grim off your face because it's time to beat the real superstar of the WWF. Wonton beef stew, 801, money comes safe, your sorry carcass. Juice makes sugar, you got plenty of insurance, punk.
I knew insurance was in there.
So that's the first one. Let's play the next one. Part 2, Fun with Ahmed.
Listen up, punk. That little ass body of yours can't possibly deal with the ass whipping I'm gonna give you in the ring. If you want to step up to play team,
F word.
because I forgot to take my medication in the morning, and I'm in a real bad mood.
Okay, I forgot to take my medication in the morning, and I'm in a real bad mood. That's how he ended it, and that's okay. I don't think that he needed his morning dose, though,
Okay.
of medication. However, yeah, he talked about the medication.
Okay, well, I'm going to read what the internet, this YouTube video, thinks he said. List nut punk. That Riddle asked, potty ignored, can possum be gived, rip a ass whipping, I'm going to gimp you, eat a reef, if you want to stamp up, to punchy, bacon off, because Eiffel got, don't take my medications, Morty, and amen the real bad moon. You ready for part 3?
I am.
All right, here we go.
Hey, if you want to play like that, there ain't nothing between us but airing out duty, boy. So go ahead, bring it to it and get ready. Because there ain't nothing on this earth that's going to save you from this ass whipping.
There's nothing on earth that's going to save you from this ass whipping.
he might have said that, or he might have said, well, the following in Fun with Ahmed Part 3. He said, hey, if you want a pair like that, there ain't nothing between us but air and a toothy boy. So Gwed, bring in toys, intended ring, be God told you nothing, or Yurf is going to save you from the sand ripper. That's what he said.
Oh.
That's exact verbiage. And we're going to play the last one, Fun with Ahmed, for the finale. All right. What did he say?
He said, you step right up, baby, and I will be your warlord.
Okay. He actually said, Bozo Soup and Stars, Bear Bush Open, a noun. Be fucking ready because it's a big dog. Because if you're Tommy Knock to bleed, you've got Willie Jakes, Detect Oil, Ahmed Johnson, and the Purple River Powerhouse. Then come on. You stamp right up, baby, and I guarantee you, you won't be going home. That's what he actually said. Purple Warple.
That's actually what he said.
Why would the internet lie?
Yeah.
Purple Warple Powerhouse. That was his nickname.
Yeah, I remember he was the Purple Warple.
Who would forget that? Come on.
And his finisher was the Purple Warple Plunge.
Yeah, he did. It was incredible.
And he was also known as the Purple People Eater.
There's so much I want to talk about in regards to Ahmed, but I feel like we should do it after the interview. Because again, if you've heard interviews with Ahmed in the past, I feel like this is going to be much different. So we will save our Ahmed thoughts for after the interview. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go to a commercial break and come back and listen to this interview with Mr. Johnson?
Yes. So, earlier I was doing some math.
Okay.
And I thought back as I pulled my phone out, and I tried to refuse to do my math on the phone because I wanted to do it in my head. Because I remember every adult when I was a child saying, do not use that calculator. You can't use a calculator in the real world. You're not just going to have a calculator in your pocket.
What a crock of shit that was, right?
Yeah, I have a calculator all the time. I couldn't even tell you what 4 + 4 is.
I've never met a person in my adult life that said, "What the fuck? Are you using a calculator? No, put that away."
Yeah, right.
I want you to figure out on your own. It's much like when we were told in school, you have to know cursive.
Yeah.
You will use this for the rest of your adult life.
Yeah, you can't sign no check. You know what you can sign a check with and it be legal and valid? Just the letter X. As long as you're writing something on it. It does not have to be your name. You're signing.
And now you don't even have to sign at all because you have electronic signatures.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't know, it's ridiculous.
Those are just some things I wanted to talk about.
Cursive is not even a thing they teach in school anymore.
Yeah.
Because I see these young kids.
You're wrong on that. But
no, I'm not.
They took it away for a couple of years, but it's
back now?
Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
At least.
Well, because most kids that I run into that are between the ages of 18 and 22 that need to sign their name,
yeah,
I'll see them signing their name and start printing it. And then I'll ask them, hey, this sounds like an old man thing to ask, but were you taught cursive? And they'll either say, I started learning in like 2nd or 3rd grade or something like that, and then they stopped teaching it, or they were never taught it at all. I mean, it's pretty crazy to me that they don't even know how to sign their name in cursive. Like I don't care if you don't know the rest of cursive, but you weren't even taught how to sign your name in cursive. That's crazy to me.
See, I complained about this in one of the very early episodes, but wrestlers that are full-grown adults still sign their name in print. They're still printing all capital letters for their name. Like, come up with an autograph. Writing your name and spelling it out, that's not an autograph.
Yeah, unless you're like Kane, because then it makes sense for your character.
Right.
You know? I don't know. It's weird. Weird times.
Yeah. So where were we?
I don't know. Math is weird.
Cursive?
Cursive is weird. Anything else?
I don't know. I don't have much faith in the education system here.
Yeah. Well, I feel like in general we learn a bunch of stuff in school that is really unnecessary. I'm pretty sure I've said it on the show before, but I wish someone would have showed me in school how to do taxes or something.
Yep.
Something that could have been of value.
Mhm.
A lot of stuff that we learn then is just...
They showed you math. Math is on the taxes.
Yeah.
But they didn't show you how to do taxes.
Yeah. Again, much more valuable.
Yeah.
But whatever, I'll just pay someone to do it, I guess. But
Hey, no offense to all you teachers out there.
it's not their fault.
Listening.
It's not their fault that the curriculum is effed.
Booty.
Booty.
Oh, buns. I'm sorry, that's what it is. That's my kid said that's the term now.
It's buns.
Oh man, you are buns. I didn't know what that was because I kept hearing my kid say it to the person he was playing he was trying to solve the video game against.
Yeah.
And he kept saying, "Nah, dude, man, you better pick it up a little bit." No, you're buns. I was like, "What?"
That's lame.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we're going to go pay some bills.
that's so tubular.
Go to commercial break. And actually, it is funny to think about in the early 90s, late 80s, they had me walking around like a surfer from California saying, "Cowabunga."
Yeah,
Yep.
radical.
Yeah, like freaking Ninja Turtles, man. Come on. Jesus Christ. When we come back, we will go to the interview with former WWF Superstar and the first ever African-American Intercontinental Champion, Ahmed Johnson. We've been talking a lot on the podcast about shaved boy summer, but sometimes it can also be sweaty sack summer, and it's approaching. So it's time for you to prioritize the comfort of your crotch. And that's why the kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 full years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. I have actually had the honor of testing out these new boxers, and I have to say, Aaron, it's the softest fabric of any underwear I've ever worn.
Is it felt?
What?
It is now.
Hey, stop touching me. What the... I mean, you should know, because you have yours too, that it's incredibly breathable, and it feels like I have gills on my groin. I mean, I'm speaking for myself here.
I'm sorry, it feels like you have what?
Gills on my groin.
Who is Gil?
Manscaped's even trademarked the jewel pouch, TM, so it's serious. I think it's time you invest in your family jewels, so let your bulge breathe and get 20% off and free shipping by using promo code PARDON, PARDON, at manscaped.com. That's PARDON, PARDON, manscaped.com. And of course, they have other incredible items over there like the Lawnmower 4.0 and the Weed Whacker, but...
Did someone say the Young Bucks?
No, no one said the Young Bucks, you dumb fuck. I mean, listen, these briefs, though, you're going to want them in your life. I mean, let's say you're on a date and your partner catches the Manscaped logo on the waistband of your underwear. I would say it's almost guaranteed to raise some eyebrows and act like a billboard on the highway to Pleasure Town. If you know what I'm saying there, right?
I love that billboard in town.
But, outside of ball trimming, they're focusing a lot of efforts on these boxer briefs and your thigh slappers, as some may call them. They're very game-changing boxers. They also feature, as I mentioned, the jewel pouch. What is the jewel pouch? Well, it's a pouch designed to cradle your boys in their own special space, lined with performance fabric to keep them well ventilated. Basically, just imagine your balls sipping, peanut coladas, chilling on a hammock on some tropical beach. I mean, that sounds like a good time, right, Aaron?
This is the read they gave you?
No, I'm saying this from the heart, Aaron.
Oh, yeah, my balls. You know what? I don't know that I'd vacation on a beach, though, right now.
Why not?
With the pandemic and everything.
It's like over, dude.
It's not over. It's far
It's
from
basically over.
Listen, you don't know anything about being over. But I will tell you this.
Okay.
If I were to vacation somewhere, it would be in Maryland.
Why Maryland?
Well, specifically, Baltimore.
You don't need to go on vacation to get these boxer briefs. The fabric is buttery
Because the
soft
balls.
and very breathable, and it'll keep your cucumber cool. Walking, running, strutting. These moisture-wicking boxers breathe without breaking a sweat. The tagless waistband hugs your body without digging in. It lays flat against your skin to reduce chafing. The front fly opening gives easy access and makes bathroom breaks quick and efficient. Now, I don't use the fly in my underwear because I think that's weird. You got to go over the top. But if that's something you do, if you're a weirdo and you like to go through the little curtain they give you there, I mean, have at it.
You go over top?
Yeah, you got to go over the top.
Okay.
I just let the bad boy out.
Yeah.
Hang loose.
Do you turn your hat backwards before
It's already backwards.
you go
Okay.
over the top?
Okay.
Well, look, I know I'll meet you halfway.
They have a wide variety of new boxer briefs over at manscaped.com. Different colors, designs, from small to 3XL for all the guys out there. Like I said, Pardon, P-A-R-D-O-N over at manscaped.com. You save 20% and get free shipping. And look, well, thank you because it helps support the show. And you know what? Your balls will thank you.
Greg,
Yes.
have you ever had a good friend?
I like to think that I have a few good friends.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm sure you do. You're a very popular young man.
Oh, stop it. I'm not that popular. I only have over 10,000 followers on Twitter. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, there's a blue check mark next to your name.
There is.
That
Yeah.
means you are verified.
I mean, one day it'll be 10 million, but I'm working on it. Slow, baby. Slow
Yeah.
burn.
So, of all those friends that you have on Facebook, are any of them actually your buddy? And I mean, not just buddy, like, hey, that's my buddy over there. A good buddy?
I've got one good buddy.
Yeah? What's
that
his
we-
name?
We follow each other on Twitter. And his name is Juan Ortiz, and he runs Of the Dead Designs.
That's a merch company. One-man merch company, am I right?
You got that right, and he's been doing this thing for over 15
15
years
years.
at this point. Yeah, and he's created merch from...
For
What?
Texas
Huh?
Tornado.
What? No, that's
What?
not
No.
true. No.
Sorry.
He has not created merch for the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, rest in peace.
Or any other Texas Tornado.
But he's created merch for some of the most prolific wrestlers in all of the industry. I'm talking guys in WWE, AEW, ROH,
Give me specifics.
New Japan,
Name one tag
Impact.
team.
One tag team.
For the love of God, hit the line.
I'm going to say it. Here we go. That tag team known as Lucha Express. That's right.
He's done merch for Lucha Express?
He has, yes.
Oh.
Yep.
But there was another tag team I was thinking of.
Oh, well, I mean, it's obvious. The other tag team that's very prolific in this industry would be the Handicapped Heroes. That's right. We got a couple designs from Juan over at ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron. So, and not to mention, you know, people like Lance Archer, Hulk Hogan.
Tag teams we're looking at, though. Most of our listeners, our core audience, our key demographic, the 12 to 79-year-olds.
Well, he did
69-year-olds.
he did artwork for Road Warrior Animal. He was in a tag team.
Yes, he was. Anybody else?
Well, the Lucha Brothers.
How about, like, two brothers? Like, not Lucha, though. Maybe, like, from Rancho Cucamonga.
Well, I can't think of anybody like that. But I would say that if you wanted merch done by Juan or just a design for a family member or friend, some sort of artwork you want to hang in your wall, maybe a design, a logo of some sort for your business.
Favorite tag team of two brothers?
Could be something you do. Like if you love Brett and Owen, you know, that you can get a Brett and Owen logo.
Not a
maybe.
tag team.
They tagged a little bit. Royal
Well,
Rumble 1994, they had a tag team
Yeah, but
title
then
shot.
Owen kicked his leg from his leg.
That happens sometimes. If you want to recreate that moment, have Juan recreate that moment, he could do that for you. But guess what? Juan wants to make designs for you, no matter the situation, and he can do it at a very affordable price. In fact, if you reach out to him and tell him that you heard this ad on Iron on Wrestling, you can save $10 on your first
I'm sorry,
order.
what was that?
I said $10 doll
Ted.
hairs. 10 doll hairs on your first design. If your name is Ted
Arcidi.
he will
Ted
give,
Arcidi.
he will give
If
you-
you need merch done.
he will give you an extra 10 off if your name is Ted.
I like
And
how you said we got to go quick on this one.
contact Of the Dead Designs right now on Instagram at Of the Dead 209.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to act quick right now if you want to
Yeah.
get Juan's services. On Facebook at facebook.com/ofthedeaddesigns or his website ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs is bringing your artwork to life.
Wait. We're not done yet.
For life.
Hold on.
They're too sweet.
I didn't talk about the clouds yet.
We don't need you to.
What about the fishing poles?
Nope, not doing it.
They're in heaven.
We're going to go to the interview with Ahmed Johnson.
Grampy.
Stop.
I am a baby leprechaun Greg.
What is happening? Stop it. We're going to the interview.
Not say the line.
All right, this is the first guest we've had in a couple weeks on the show, but it is a big guest, a legendary performer in the World Wrestling Federation, the first African-American Intercontinental Champion, one of the biggest and most influential wrestlers of the time period during the New Generation and Attitude Era. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Ahmed Johnson. Thank you for joining me on the show today.
No problem.
How is things in Texas currently for you?
Oh, it's good, man. It's good.
Yeah. It's we talked a little bit before we started recording, and seems like you've been staying busy and you're occasionally doing wrestling interviews like this one today. And have you done appearances in a while?
Man, I got so many appearances and podcasts that people want me to do. I just don't really have the time to do them all.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you making time for this one. And,
No
you know,
problem.
I was doing a lot of research leading up to this, though, to be honest, you know, I'm a big WWF fan from back in that time period in the 90s. And so a lot of it is stuck in my brain, a lot of things that you did and accomplished. And one of the things that I noticed in a lot of interviews that you did, you talked very highly about Owen Hart. And Owen is back in the wrestling eye, in the wrestling scope once again, because I don't know if you follow any of the current product, but they're actually doing an Owen Hart Memorial Tournament for him in AEW. I was wondering if you could share some of your experiences with Owen and how it feels to know that he's finally getting the credit he deserves in professional wrestling in this day and age.
Well, see, that's the key thing. Owen he deserved credit way before now, man. I mean, he was one of the best ring generals in the ring that you could ever get. And, you know, it's just sad that it's taken this long for people to, you know, open up their eyes and see who Owen Hart really was. You know, people snoop after Blue Blazer and these other characters, but Owen was a ring general. Like I said, one of the best. And he was just a good friend of mine, man. He loved to play jokes on me and play games on me, and he was just the best, man.
Owen was legendary for his ribs. What are some of your favorite locker room ribs involving Owen Hart?
Well, most of them are on me, so I mean, I don't know. One time, I remember he took a stink bomb. You know what a stink bomb is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I messed around. I don't know why I told Owen that I was meeting my in-laws for the first time at the match. You know, got them a box seat up high so they can see the match and everything. And then I went, after the match, I went and got dressed because I was going to go up there and meet them. And when I was getting dressed, I kept smelling like dog dookie, man. And I was like, where in the hell is this dog dookie smell coming from? In my bag.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, and no matter what I put on, it smelled like that. And I had to go upstairs and meet them. So I went upstairs, put a bunch of cologne on, and it didn't work. So I went upstairs, man, and met them smelling like dog doo.
Oh my God.
That was my first time meeting these people. I was like, oh my God.
Good first impression.
That's who did it. And him and Davey Boy would always switch off and on. Owen did it. No, Davey did it. Owen did it. No, Davey did it.
That's awesome. There's another story that you tell about Owen pranking you into thinking you were doing the Jay Leno show.
Oh yeah. Where I was in my room during Wrestlemania, that's the big time of the year, you know. So I'm in my room, in my hotel room, and my phone rings. And we was doing all kind of appearances for all kind of people. And the phone rang and it says, "Hey, this is the Jay Leno show." And I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be great," you know. I'm like, yeah, and I'm answering all these questions, you know, how many people, how many kids you got, how many people in your family, how many this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting there answering them all. And he said, "Well, we want to come and pick you up tomorrow night. I mean, tomorrow morning. I don't know, it's tomorrow night." It was like in the evening type of deal. And so I was like, "All right, that's cool. That's cool." So I went out, man, to the mall and brought me a brand new suit, some brand new shoes, man, that cost a fortune. And got me a little hat, and I was just sparkling, man. And I'm outside waiting for the limo to come pick me up. And while I'm waiting for the limo, Owen comes out. Then Davey comes out. And Owen's like, "Oh man, why are you so dressed up?" I said, "I got Jay Leno's show to do tonight." And he's like, "Man, that's bullshit. You doing Jay Leno's show? I haven't even did Jay Leno's show." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm just doing what people call for me to do." And then Davey Boy comes out, and I should know something was funny because he was real quiet at first. And so I'm sitting there, man, waiting for the limo. And then it dawned on me, how would they know my limo's coming at this particular time? But I still didn't think nothing of it. And then when Davey Boy came out, Brett came out a little later and was like, "Ahmed, that was Owen that called you. That wasn't Davey Leno." That was Owen that called you. I was like, "Oh man." And they fell over laughing, him and Davey Boy. I mean, they fell over laughing.
That's awesome. He got you good.
Yeah. Then I had this new suit and new shoes and I think for nothing. And I was like, "Oh."
You never ended up wearing it for anything else?
Huh?
You never ended up wearing it for anything else?
I wore it to church.
Okay. All right. Well, at least it got some use. You know, you brought up WrestleMania and you got to experience two WrestleManias, WrestleMania 12 and WrestleMania 13. For you, growing up a wrestling fan and eventually getting into the business in the late 80s, early 90s, for you, was being able to participate in WrestleMania the pinnacle?
Yes. Yes, it was. It wasn't better than winning the Intercontinental belt. That's to me, that was my pinnacle.
Sure.
When I won the Intercontinental belt. But yeah, WrestleMania was up there.
I definitely want to talk about your Intercontinental Championship win because it was historic for many, many reasons.
Right.
When we talk about WrestleMania, we're going to jump around a little bit because I want to talk a little bit about your childhood because I can relate to some of the things that you went through growing up and your athletic background. But since we're on the subject of WrestleMania, you know, WrestleMania 13, one of the highlights of your career was teaming with the LOD in the street fight against the Nation of Domination. Talk to me about that match and what that meant to you.
I'm still hurting from that match.
It was pretty brutal.
Yeah, that was a rough match there, man. Because you had 6 guys, well, they had more than 6 because they had their little clones out there. But basically, you had 6 guys in the ring that all 6 of them were guys that really didn't give a shit which way it went. It was a battle to see who was the toughest. Is really what it came down to.
Yeah.
And man, it was painful. It was a painful match. But it was one set on my mind for I had to get my revenge on Farouk because when he kicked me on my ribs at the time, I still haven't played him back.
Sure.
So I was able to give him his receipt that match. You know, taking him through them tables, and then I bust his ribs, and he ended up going to the hospital after the match.
Yeah,
but it was a brutal match, man.
Yeah, it's one of the more memorable ones of WrestleMania. Now, a match like that, working with legends like LOD and working with Farouk and those guys, how much planning went into that match? Like, how much did you guys call, or was it something that you guys just had a general outline and you just went out there and did it?
We just had, outline and went up there and did it. We didn't call anything. We just went out there and it was basically a shoot match from the word go.
Yeah.
And, you can do a shoot match with respect for the person you're doing it, not trying to kill them, but you're not trying to soften up the blows too much either. And that match was set like that. It was to the point where I didn't want to hit him to hurt him or kick him to hurt him, but I want you to know I've been there.
Right.
And that's the way they felt too. So it was like battles of the tough guys is what we really like.
Yeah. You were such a large individual, such a larger than life individual, but for your size, your athleticism was, I believe, way ahead of its time. Some of the things that you did over the top rope and off the top rope, I mean, it was crazy for a guy your size. Now, did you pattern your style off of someone, or was it something that you just wanted to do to stand out? Because again, a lot of bigger individuals weren't doing the things that you were doing in the mid 90s.
No, it just came naturally, man. I mean, I didn't, pattern my style after anyone. One person I used to love to watch wrestle was Nikita Koloff.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I didn't pattern my style after him or anything, but I patterned, my red patterning after him, my trunks and my boots.
Okay.
I'm just a Koloff fan.
Yeah.
And that's where that went down.
Well, it's funny that you brought up the color of your gear, the way your gear looked. Now, during the time when you entered the WWF, it's a different time period in wrestling, and you were sort of in the middle of the transition. At the time, there was a lot of very cartoonish characters. Now, when you entered the Federation, we hear often that a lot of the guys were given designs by creative services, the way their character was going to look. Your character not only was very colorful with the red on, but also very unique to you that I haven't seen before, since you wore a number of elbow pads and knee pads. Talk to me about doing that for the character. Like, did you come up with that idea? And was it something that you did to set yourself apart? Like, what was the mindset behind the way Ahmed Johnson looked? And was it all from your brain?
Yeah, it was something I thought of and something I did even from the tape on my arms, I didn't see too many guys doing that. So I started doing that. I took my knee pads and pulled them up to my thighs, made them thigh pads.
Yeah.
And it's just something I thought of to do, and I did it.
Yeah, it made you stand out for sure. And the Ahmed Johnson name, who came up with that?
The Federation did.
Were you okay with it, or did you have any other suggestions, or you were just like, hey, I'm happy for this opportunity, I'll go with whatever you're telling me?
No, I was cool with Ahmed Johnson because it was a name, and it could have went either way. It could have went heel, it could have went babyface. There was no term like Ahmed Johnson, It's just the name that they gave me, and I went with it because it was so open to different, suggestions.
Were you relieved that you weren't saddled with a cartoonish gimmick? Because again, you came into the Federation at a time where they're garbage men and plumbers, and you stood out not only because of your look and your athleticism, but you seemed like a genuine badass. There was an intensity about you. I would imagine that you were happy that you weren't giving one of those ridiculous characters.
Oh, very happy. Very happy. Because some ridiculous names came up like Buck Bronson and what else did they say? But Burt Bronson was one of them. I can't think of the other names, but they were so corny. And they would have gave me this stigma of being this particular type of person in the ring. And I couldn't have been, like when I came out, they never told me if I was a babyface or a heel. They never told me, up to the day, they have never told me if I was a babyface or a heel.
Wow.
They just gave me the name Ahmed Johnson and shot me to the wolves to see what the wolves do with him.
Yeah.
And fans loved it, from the slam Yokozuna, and from there it took off.
Yeah, you slamming Yokozuna was one of the first things you did in the Federation. And that's a big push to get off the bat, because if you go back a couple years, they ended up giving that same opportunity to Lex Luger. And we sort of seen how that run panned out for him. But the idea that they would put you with someone like Yoko, a former WWF champion, it seemed like right from the beginning, Vince wanted to give you the push. So talk to me about the opportunity to get the body slam Yokozuna. How receptive was Yoko to that? And I guess talk to me a little bit about your relationship with Vince McMahon, because it seemed right off the rip, he really wanted to run with you and push you to the top.
Well, with Yoko, it was an honor, and the more it goes, the more of an honor I see that it was. At the time, I didn't see it as a great honor because it was just one wrestler against another to me. And like I said, I hadn't even locked in on my character, how I come out with so much intensity. And even today, they're trying to duplicate that intensity, but they can't. Just like you can't duplicate Stone Cold or The Rock. You just can't do it. And you can't duplicate that intensity that I had, because everybody that tries to do it, it seems so fake. It's like acting. It seems like what it is acting. But me, that's just where I came out, man. If I was going in a street fight, I would pump my intensity up like that, And that's just where it was. And as far as Vince go, man, yeah, in the beginning, I mean, I really thought that, he was behind me and going to give me this great push. But as I went on, I found out that it wasn't Vince that didn't want to give me the world title. It was other wrestlers like Shawn Michaels. They didn't want to see me push that high. I don't know, personal reasons or, it's just so much that can go into that pot. That's
Sure.
why they didn't, want me to do it. And I mean, I was green. I'll say that. I was still green and still learning, but I think I was ready for the world title shot. And because Shawn had the belt and everything, he basically got to pick who he was going against. I mean, he was running the show back then,
Sure.
He was basically got to pick who he won against, and he didn't think, from what I understand, what I heard, he didn't think that it was time for a black man to be world champion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But, I can't say how he say that when I was Intercontinental Champion and I was popping the house everywhere we went.
Yeah, and historically, when someone gets the Intercontinental Championship, especially during those times, you're basically the next in line for the WWF title shot.
Right. So, I don't know what the deal was for him and his reasoning, but, it is what it is, man.
Well, since we're talking about it, let's talk about that Intercontinental Championship opportunity. It ends up happening at King of the Ring 1996. You said it yourself. It's the highlight of your career. But to get there was a very interesting angle with one Goldust that gets us to King of the Ring 96. If you saw it when it happened, you'll never forget it. You experienced it. You know where I'm going. Talk to me about this segment on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, man, we had practiced it beforehand because it was live. And we had already went over it. And Goldust decided he was going to play a ha-ha on me. So I went and got, we did the match. I ended up on the stretcher. They're rolling me out. And when we practiced it, Goldust was supposed to put his hand over my mouth like this and kiss his hand. But he wanted to go a step further and kiss me for real. And I was like, what the? But there was nothing I could do because it was live. I had to sit there and take it, man. So when I got up, I was a little bit peeved about that. When I got up off that stretcher. That's my poor Bob Holly up with one hand and back in the back. And it was, explosion from there. And then they asked who's going to stand in front of the door that I was going to come through. And this jobber raised his hand and said, oh, I'll do it, and I'll do it. Like, he wasn't scared to do it, or, just no respect when he said it. So I said, okay, you stand right there, because I'm coming. He stood there and I came like a bullet out of a gun.
Now, see, everybody remembers the kiss from Goldust, but I remember you pushing that jobber through the door because I used to laugh and rewind it because it was like the noise you make and the ferocity in which you push him. It is hilarious to me. Like, that guy must have had no idea what he was getting himself into.
No, he could have made a career out of that one, I'm telling you.
Did you talk to him after the fact?
No, I couldn't find him after the fact.
They might have had to take him on that stretcher that you were on.
Yeah, I think he had the toys and went home, man.
So leading up to the match with Goldust, I would imagine you probably worked some house shows with them before King of the Ring 96.
Did we do the house shows? Let me think. Yeah, we worked some house shows, but nothing to that point, where he was going to kiss me or anything.
Right. How did you enjoy working with Dustin in general? Like, did you learn a lot from him?
Yes, Dustin is a great, great worker, man. he was, basically I let him call a match, and he just calls a hell of a match, man. He knows what he's doing in the ring. He's one of the best. I would have to say he's right up there with Owen in him.
That's high praise.
Yeah, I have to say that.
Talk to me about the memories of King of the Ring 96 that day, June 23rd, 1996. Yes, I have that date memorized. It's your biggest moment. You win the Intercontinental Championship. Talk to me about that day, your memories from that experience.
Well, that day, I almost blew it. I almost blew the Intercontinental Championship because, it was the first person to touch the floor was going to get the shot.
Okay.
And when Dustin hit me, we both went over the ropes. I don't know if you remember seeing that when we both went over the ropes, and I wasn't supposed to go over the ropes.
Oh, no.
But I didn't touch the floor. My feet got hung up in the rope, thank God. I hung up in the rope, and my hand was like that far from touching the ground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Owen touched the ground, and my hand was that far from touching the ground. But that's not the way we scripted. That's just the way it happened, because Owen's foot got under mine, and it tripped me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then I went over the rope and that close to messing it up.
Wow.
I did not want him, and Vince got a hell of a show out that. Something that wasn't the schedule, but he got a hell of a show out that, man.
Yeah, I can imagine. But that night, talk to me about winning the Intercontinental Championship and what that meant for you to be the first African-American Intercontinental Champion. Did you understand the historical significance of what you were experiencing in that moment?
Honestly, no. I didn't appreciate the how can I say it, the whole magnitude of the situation. I didn't realize how important it was going to be later on down the line, with all these other black wrestlers in there winning the Intercontinental Championship, winning championships. To be the first, it didn't dawn on me how important that was until later on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, today there's so many African Americans getting large opportunities in WWE. Do you follow the product at all? Do you keep up with the way that they're using the African American wrestlers today on TV?
Yeah, I watch them every now and then.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool to see guys like Kofi Kingston and Bobby Lashley become the WWE champion. Is there anybody that stands out to you?
Right now, Bobby Lashley does.
He's got a very similar look to what you had.
Yeah, almost the same.
Yeah.
And one black guy that I think will be a great champion, world champion, is Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He will be a great champion. I don't know why they're holding the pushback on him, man.
I don't know. He's always been incredibly athletically gifted, and I feel like it's just they're wasting his potential.
Yes, they are. He will be great, man, as a champion.
What do you think?
Talk, he can work. I mean,
oh yeah.
What more do you want from the kid?
Yeah, he's a total package. What about Big E? Big E was someone that recently had the WWE Championship, a guy that just oozes charisma, incredibly athletic. He recently, unfortunately, suffered a broken neck. I don't know if you saw that, so he's going to be out for a little bit. But are you a fan of Big E?
Big E is another one that's a great wrestler and a great promo talker. I just think that Shelton Benjamin has the whole package.
Yeah, I mean, he came up in that same class with Brock Lesnar, and just the athletic credentials that he has. He's pretty awesome.
Right. If I had to put it all together, Shelton Benjamin would be my man.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
So you win the Intercontinental Championship. You are embedded in this feud with the Nation of Domination and Farouk. You talked about the kick that he gave you. I believe it was the summer of 1996. It took you out of action for a little bit. That had to be a very disheartening experience for you. You're getting this major push, and then you were forced to vacate the Intercontinental Championship. What was going through your mind through that period of time?
Oh, that teed me off when that happened. That teed me off. And then, they gave him the nation that was supposed to be protecting him and stuff. It was a good storyline. I mean, a great storyline. I just think we went a little too long with it. Because I mean, every time I got to arena, they're fighting. You have to look on the list to see who I was fighting. It was Ahmed against the Nation, Ahmed against the Nation. But the thing about it is we kept the crowd into it all those matches, all those months. We kept the crowd into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important, you know, to keep the crowd into your gimmick and to what you're doing.
Absolutely. And you know, other than the Intercontinental Championship and other than working Farouk, one of the other highlights for you, I think personally, and I'm sure you'll agree, is you won the Kuwait Cup, and I believe you beat Triple H in the finals. I think you're on record as saying that's one of your all-time favorite matches.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite matches, and one of my all-time favorite places to work was Kuwait. That was, man, they treated us like royalty down there.
Yeah, talk to me about that whole experience.
Oh man, that experience was something else. I mean, from the time we got there, you know, to these king-size rooms they gave us, to treating us like we were, you know, part of the royal family, man, it was something else. Like when I got done with my match, one of the sheiks in Kuwait, one of the leaders, came and picked me up. They called my room and was like, Ahmed, you need to come downstairs. It's like, for what? And he's like, oh, just come downstairs. Somebody wants to meet you. So I came downstairs, man, and it was a sheik. I mean, first he had like 20 police officers with him, all around him, you know, protecting him. Then he was like, I want to take you with me on a trip to the mall. And I was like, I'm not gonna say no, you know.
Right.
We get outside, and there's this big limo, and there's like 11 to 12 cars in the front, 11, 12 police cars in the back, motorcycles and everything, man. I feel like pure royalty. And then we drove to the mall, and I got to the mall, and they had shut the mall down. And except for the store owners, they were all there. And I'm walking in there, man, they're giving me gold rings, blankets, all kind of stuff. They're just giving it to me.
Wow.
And you know, some of the owners are in there in the shop saying, you know, Ahmed, please bless my baby, bless my baby. All they want me to do is kiss their baby.
Wow.
Yeah, they were saying like that was a blessing to the baby, which I don't like that, because I'm a Christian, and you know, I believe nobody should be above the Lord.
Sure.
You know, nobody can bless your baby but the Lord, and I'm not no kind of Lord. But it was, you know, they were doing all that, and it freaked me out more than anything else. I mean, I was freaked out, man.
I can imagine.
I dreamed of something like that happening. You know, people want me to kiss their babies for good luck, and
Yeah.
like, man, if I kiss this baby, I can bring them bad luck, but if that's what you want, I'll give it to you.
Right. Talk to me about working with Hunter. At that time, the Clique had quite the reputation backstage. The Clique, of course, is Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, 1-2-3 Kid. Talk to me about working with Hunter. Did you have any animosity with the Clique? I mean, clearly you guys must have gelled good enough to have one of your all-time favorite matches.
You know, working with Hunter was one of the greatest things I ever did, man. Because like I said, he called the match, and I was still green, and he was leading me and showing me what to do and telling me to do this, that, and other. And would turn out to be a outstanding match. But with the Clique, they didn't mess with me for some reason. They probably did behind the scenes, like I told you. I didn't become world champion because Shawn Michaels didn't think I was ready. Whatever reasons, you know, he may have that, but they never messed with me. They never tried to ha-ha me. They never tried to bully me or any of the thing they did to other guys.
Well, that's good.
You know, they knew their place, and they knew who to mess with and who not to mess with.
I listened to one of your interviews, and you really put over Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, for being one of the few guys when you came in that actually would pull you aside and give you advice. And with Scott recently passing away, I feel like now more than ever, there are a lot of people paying tribute to the worker and the great wrestling mind that Scott was. So talk to me about your experience getting feedback with Scott and what that was like for you.
Yeah, I did a match one time, and then when I got done with it, I was coming to the back. I thought it was a great match, but Scott stopped me, and he was like, look, I mean, you need to do more of this and less of this, and incorporate this in your match. And I was shocked and very excited that Scott Hall would, you know, take me under his wing for a short bit and tell me things like that. And it was an honor. for him to do that, and he didn't have to.
Yeah.
When everybody else was all standoffish because, like I said, I was the big guy coming in with the high flying moves, and most of the big guys there were jealous of that.
Sure.
Scott came right up to me and told me what he seen that he liked and he didn't like in my match, and I appreciated that, man. I truly did, and he wasn't the only one. Ultimate Warrior did one time.
Oh, really?
When he came back, to the WWF, he called me in his locker room, and I was very shocked. And he was like, "Ahmed, why don't you come and get dressed with me?" And I didn't know this cat from anybody. I knew he was the Warrior, but I didn't know him.
Yeah.
Know him. Yeah, and I went in his locker room, man, and he coached me up a little bit and told me a little bit of history about things that went on. Things that went on that we already know what all that is.
Sure.
But, he was a very pleasant guy to me, and everybody else talked bad about it.
Yeah.
But I'm type like person like this. To me, you only judge a man by the way a man treats you. Like this interview, if I was all snobby and nasty with you, then somebody asks you, how was the interview I made? Oh man, he was an asshole, didn't have it. So you judge a man by the way a man treats you, because I might not treat the next interviewer like I'm treating you. It's,
right.
It goes off, what you feel, how the interview is doing. Same thing in the wrestling match. And, as far as I'm concerned, Warrior is one of the nicest guys out there. At least to me, he was.
Sure. That's great to hear, because like you said, it's kind of a mixed bag as far as feedback goes about the Warrior. So the fact that you had a pleasant experience, that's always a positive thing to hear. When we talk about guys that you really got along with backstage in WWE, you mentioned Warrior. We kind of talked about Owen and British Bulldog. Were there any individuals that you were particularly close to? Maybe guys that you traveled with, guys that you went to the gym with?
Well, I traveled with the Nation. We all traveled together. And, you travel with different people. Like one time I traveled with Taker, and it was Yoko, Taker, me, and I forgot who else was in there. But that poor car was crying, had all that weight on it.
Yeah.
But it was, I really didn't have one individual that I was tight with. It was just, I took everybody for face value.
Sure. Traveling with Taker, obviously, since then, and even at that point, he was becoming a legend, but he's had one of the most legendary careers in the history of professional wrestling. What kind of knowledge and feedback did you get from a guy like The Undertaker?
Well, just watching him, you get a lot of knowledge and feedback. Watch how he pops the crowd. Watch how the crowd responds to him. It's his, like, slow get up, when he raises up. And you just got to watch little details like that when you're wrestling, Pay attention to the small details.
Sure. The small details make a big picture.
Right. That's something I wish I would have done more. But somebody like Taker, you get into that mindset to where you start watching every little thing he does. And it helps your game. You
were actually on the verge of working with The Undertaker in the main event of Canadian Stampede 1997. You were going to wrestle for the WWF Championship. Now, this is after you turn and join the Nation, which I want to go back and touch on in a second. But that opportunity slips away because of a knee injury, if I'm correct there.
Right.
Talk to me about how that felt going into that match, having that taken away from you because of a knee injury, and just, do you know the plans going forward? Were you going to get the WWF Championship from The Undertaker at Canadian Stampede?
I think I was. I think I was. I don't know. I can't say for, 100%, but the way they were building it up, I think I was. It was going to be for, me and the Nation. But, now fell through.
One thing that I was actually curious about. So you end up turning and joining the Nation, the creative behind that. You had feuded with the Nation for so long, and you were such a popular babyface. Who made that decision for you to turn? How did you feel about that turn?
Vince made the decision, I believe, for me to turn. I didn't think it was a good one, because we had so much heat with each other. I didn't think that the turn was good at that point. that they were doing it. But I see why once, he had me give the Undertaker my finish, it started coming together. That's what he was planning on doing.
It's interesting because when you go out with your injury, a guy by the name of Rocky Maivia ends up coming back. He joins the Nation of Domination. I don't know if that guy went on to do anything after this, but he ends up becoming the leader of the nation by 1998. Now, right. I don't know how much they told you in advance. Perhaps maybe you were going to win the WWF Championship at Canadian Stampede. But do you think if things were different, I don't know, does Rocky Maivia enter the nation if you're not injured? Do you inevitably become the leader of the nation? Are these scenarios that you've ever thought about or have some insight to?
I think I would have became the leader of the nation. It would have been a trip, But when it broke apart, Vince called us off to his office. And he was like, Ahmed, I'm going to take you out the nation. And we was like, what? You just put me in the nation. I mean, it wasn't but a short run. And we asked him why. He said, well, I was watching you guys walk down the ramp. And he said, there is nobody going to believe that you guys can be beat by anybody. And so therefore, I'm going to take you out, and you go back to fighting against the nation. But by that time, we had been fighting, almost a year.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
But the crowd loved it every minute of it. Every time we did it, they popped and they loved it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you talk about, the fear and the intimidation that a group of you guys could bring, I can understand why maybe Vince thought, maybe it's not believable that anybody could beat you guys. But we've talked about your personal intensity, your athleticism. I want to go way back to your childhood real quick. And I don't know if this maybe plays a role in it, because for me, I didn't have the best childhood growing up. I was bullied as a kid. My parents were very verbally, could be physically abusive as well. And as I got older and decided that I wanted to get into professional wrestling, I never really did anything athletic in my life, but I really pushed myself towards weightlifting, building my body up. And then I wanted to prove people wrong by becoming a professional wrestler. You encountered incredible odds as a child. There's a lot of things that you went through, and I don't know how much you want to talk about that here, but did the experiences you went through as a child drive you towards athletics? Was there something that was instilled in you that maybe you wanted to prove someone like your father wrong, and maybe become a superstar wrestler? Like how did your childhood experiences shape you as the man you are today?
Well, that intensity you seen come to the ring, that was mostly from my childhood. Because I would think angrily, about what my father did, and it would really kind of blow the roof off the joint, as far as me thinking back. And it helped me with my intensity and helped me with my power. So in a way, I hate to say this, but in a way, all that bad came to something good, because it helped me get in the weight room, because I wanted to be stronger than him one day, because I wanted to beat him up. So, I mean, all that intensity and all that rage was from him.
Yeah.
And in a way, I felt bad about it, but in a way, it helped me get where I had to get in sports.
Yeah, absolutely. And just talking to you, it seems like you're in such a great place now in your life. And me personally, I'm in a great place in my life. But speaking for myself, sometimes I think there's little particles of that chip on my shoulder that still drive me to remember that even though I'm in a good place now, I had to go through a lot of crap to become the man I am today. I can imagine that if you could go back in time, as brutal as some of those moments in your life may have been, would you have changed anything that happened to you? Or are you okay with how everything turned out?
I think I would have changed some of the beatings and stuff that I got.
Yeah.
Although that's a good question, because, on one hand, I'm saying I would have changed it, but on the second hand, would it have changed me?
Sure. It's a deep question.
Right. So you got to think, you got to weigh them on both scales, So yeah, I think I would have. I think I would have avoided all the beatings and stuff.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, they were scary, man. That was some scary thoughts. You know, to hear my dad's van pull up, or his motorcycle, his Harley pull up, you just knew he was going to find something to be angry about.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a very scary feeling as a kid to, you know, want to run and hide every time you hear a loud vehicle or something come up, you know.
Yeah, I get it. I was there. You know, I had fear of my dad too. Fortunately, now we have a decent relationship and we've sort of made amends on certain things. And, you know, I can forgive, but it's hard to forget because those scars, whether they're mental or physical, they stick with you.
Yes, very hard to forget.
Did some of the things that you went through with your father, I know you talked about in the past that you were in the Bloods for a while. Did
Right.
the experiences you went through as a kid, being scared and confused, did that drive you towards gang life?
Yes, it did.
What were those
Very.
experiences like for you? I can't imagine they were very pleasant.
No, none of them were very pleasant. You know, you get involved with the gang, man, and you basically signing your life away because you could be shot, killed at any time, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was just another, I didn't realize it as a kid, but that was just adding more chocolate to the cake, you know, as far as you being scared when your dad come home, you're scared to walk the streets because, you know, you done somebody wrong and you might get shot, you know. That was just adding on to it. But in a way, I used to say to myself that being dead would be a blessing. You know, I wanted to die. I wanted somebody to kill me. But, you know, they never did. And that's all in the past now.
Sure. What was it that got you away from that?
What got me away from it? I'll have to say going to the military really woke me up.
Yeah.
But I even had, you know, bad intentions in the military with people, you know. Like a drill sergeant came to me one time and I just couldn't take it anymore. Him yelling at me because it was so much like your childhood. You know, he's yelling at me, calling me names, but this is drill sergeant, you gotta respect them, you know, you gotta stay at attention and you gotta, whatever he calls you or does to you, spit on you, whatever you want to do, you're not supposed to do nothing. But at one time, I couldn't take it no more. And I just went off on him. I was like, you know, you so-and-so, you want to get down right now? Let's do this right now. You want to fight? Let's go. And then my other drill sergeant came out and grabbed me. And he was like, what are you doing, Private? What are you doing? And I was like, oh, man, I didn't realize, you know, I had lost touch to where I was and who I was talking to.
Yeah.
That was from childhood, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Those experiences that it'll shape you and it'll change you.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that just popped in my brain that I didn't address from earlier, you know, you grew up in Florida, correct?
Well, I was born in Indiana, raised up in Florida.
Where did you being from Pearl River, Mississippi come from?
I have no idea.
You have no idea because you're like the Pearl River Powerhouse. You have the Pearl River Plunge.
I haven't even been to Mississippi, I don't think.
So you have no idea where this came from.
I don't even know where Mississippi is on the map.
I love it.
I have no idea where that came from, bro.
Jeez. Well, that might be the highlight of this interview right here. Let's jump forward in time a little bit. One thing that I've never heard anyone talk to you about, and I don't know if you realize this, but maybe about 15 years ago when YouTube became a thing, one of the first viral wrestling things on YouTube was a compilation of your promos from the WWF Warzone video game. Do you know about this at all?
Not really.
I'll have to send them to you after this, but basically the intensity of your promos and the way that you're talking, someone took the time to translate what they thought that you were saying. And it made for a very interesting video. And it's something that still lives on YouTube this day, but it got me to wondering, you know, today, WWE superstars, they get huge royalty checks off of these WWE video games. back during that time, you ended up being in 2 video games, that being Warzone, which we just mentioned, and In Your House. I remember for Wrestlemania, the arcade game, a little bit before your time, they had to do motion capture for that game, which was sort of ahead of its time. Did you have to do that for In Your House? Do you remember the experience of recording these promos for Warzone? Talk to me about your memories of taking part in the video game, and were the royalties anything like they are today? You don't have to give me exact numbers.
Well, no, royalties back then in our game, we only got 2-point-something%.
Oh, wow.
The game sold, so it was nothing. It was a waste of time, really.
Yeah.
But making the games were fun. When they brung us in, they flew us in and, you know, put us on the green screen and put these little dots on us, little like light bulb things. And making the game was fun, man. Then to see it, you know, all come together at the end, it was great.
I mean, it had to be a dream come true to be featured in video games, get action figures. Obviously, you had your own T-shirt line. If someone approached you today with Mattel, they have a large line of Legend action figures that they came out with. Would you be open to the idea of signing some sort of contract for a Ahmed Johnson Legend action figure?
Well, sure, if the money was right.
It's all about the money, man. You got to get that right amount of money.
Money, right? Yeah. But it couldn't do any worse than 2%.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I could see them coming with about 4 or 5 elbow pads and knee pads that they could slide on Ahmed. It would be a great figure.
Oh, yeah.
Your WWF run ends in 1998 because you end up leaving for good reason. Your sister was battling cancer and you wanted to spend time with your sister, which I find to be very admirable. You took time away from the ring. Did you do any indies or anything before you end up going to WCW, or did you just kind of take a break altogether from professional wrestling after the situation with your sister?
I kind of just took a break altogether. No, I just took a break, man.
What led you to WCW?
Steve Ray was a good friend of mine, and I haven't spoke to him in a while, but he was a good friend of mine. And he needed somebody to come in as his tag team partner because Booker would want the guy to kind of go on his own. So Booker kind of broke off and went and did his thing, and Stevie was out there all alone. He needed a tag team partner. So I went on and he called me and asked me would I want to do it one day. When I was like, sure. I mean, this is a dream of mine come true. Me and my childhood buddy going to be tagging together, you know. So that's what got me into WCW.
You end up being called Big T, and you guys are Harlem Heat 2000. Your run there only lasts a couple months. What was the experience like in WCW compared to the WWF, and what led to your departure from the company?
Well, the WWF and the difference was the guys. Like in WWF, they, you know, cry a lot about, oh, he hit me too hard, or this, that, and other. And I was not even in shape when I went to WCW, and I was hitting them guys, you know, and nobody ever complained, you know, ever cried about it or anything. And I know a couple of, you know, shots I threw was, you know, shooting on them. I didn't mean to do it on purpose, but it, you know, it came out that way. And they never did cry, never did, you know, complain or anything. So the guys seemed to be a lot tougher from WCW.
How did you feel about the Harlem Heat 2000 storyline? Because it seems to get a lot of flack online today. People think it's, I mean, probably for good reason. They think it's kind of absurd that the main core of the feud was based on the rights to the letter T. How did you feel about that whole situation when it's pitched to you? Do you just want to team with your buddy and work with your friends from the past and get paid, or are you kind of hesitant about the storyline?
Yeah, it was corny, man. It was corny. I was like, what? We're battling over the letter T? Who are we, the after school special program or something?
Sesame Street, WCW Sesame Street.
I'm not, you know, it was just corny, man. I didn't feel it. I wasn't into it. I couldn't get Ahmed Johnson's character get in there, you know, that intensity I had. I couldn't bring all that with me. It was just, I don't know who even thought of that, but that was silly, man.
Yeah, kind of ridiculous. One of my favorite parts about your run in WCW, I think, and you might not even remember this, but there's a backstage segment where you're wearing this amazing bright pink No Limit jumpsuit. It is the coolest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. And if I could find one of those, I would wear it today. Where were you buying an outfit like that back in 2000?
At this little store they got up here.
Okay. What's the name of it? I got to write it down.
Man, I don't even remember what the name of it was. I know where it's at, but I don't know the name of it.
Damn it. All right. Well, maybe I'll have to search for a vintage one on eBay one day. But that was the highlight for me. But what led to your departure in WCW?
Just me not wanting to be there at that time, me not being in shape, me just not ready.
Yeah. When you leave WCW, you end up doing some indie shots. Did you went overseas for a little bit, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah. In Japan for a while.
There you go. So talk to me about some of your experience in Japan on the indies. And according to the internet, and this may or may not be true, your career ends up winding down in 2003. Talk to me about what led to your departure from professional wrestling.
First of all, Japan was nice in a way, and it was bad in a way. I mean, as far as food and stuff go, I have to pass on all that. But it was, the guys were nice and everything, and the people were nice, and so on with that. And as far as me leaving professional wrestling, I just got burnt out with it, man, with the, going back and forth. And my wife was pregnant, and it was just time for me to go.
Was there ever any thought about maybe doing more movies and stuff? Because I know you did a couple films, one of which was you played Suge Knight in the MC Hammer story. Were movies ever an option for you?
They were, and they still are. I'm thinking about, once I get back in shape, I'm thinking about hitting up, some more movie things and see what I can get.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool to see.
They pay the Rock a grip.
Yeah, gotta get that Rock paycheck.
Man, just give me 10% of what he make, I'll be happy.
How do you feel about all the success of the Rock? I mean, you knew him in the infancy of his career, and now he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He's the biggest box office attraction. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think, he got what he did. I mean, he was a good interviewer, man. He was good on the mic, and all that. I think he deserved what he's getting. Looking
back, you had a short run in the WWF, but it's a very memorable run. I think you accomplished a lot. Like I said, his story, it being the first WWF Intercontinental Champion, African-American. Is there anything that you wish you would have accomplished outside of the WWF Championship during your run?
During my run?
Yeah.
I wish I would have got that world title.
I mean, that's the pinnacle.
Yeah, I still wish I got that. Because then, that would have locked everything down. The first black Intercontinental Champion, first black, world title holder. That would have been great, But it didn't happen, so I'm not going to cry with spilled milk. Was there a dream opponent for you that you never got to get in the ring with? Who I would like to wrestle in this time or back then? Either or. Give me both. I would love to go against Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley for this present. Back then, I would love if me and the Warrior could have hooked up, or me and Psycho Sid. That would have been awesome. You said in interviews you were real close with Sid. Sid is another guy that's sort of a polarizing figure. What was your friendship like with Sid? So we had a good. We never had any arguments or any blowbacks or anything. I thought he was a great dude, man. Regardless of what people say about him, I thought he was a great dude. A lot of people say that he was a big softball guy. Did you ever see Sid play softball? No, I never seen it, but I heard that too. I heard he loved softball. Someone, when they heard I was doing this interview with you, my buddy Ryan Crosdalahala on Facebook, he asked me to ask you if you have any memories from the celebrity softball game from the WrestleMania 12 weekend that you'd like to share. I remember that very well. Talk to me about that experience. It was just a fun time, you know. I played catcher,
Okay.
and it was just a very fun time. You know, nothing spectacular happened, but just the people out there and us playing softball against other celebrities. It was cool, man.
Yeah. This has been a great experience talking to you because I feel like, you know, the internet community, as far as pro wrestling goes, is an interesting bunch. And I feel like that you get a lot of flack, probably not undeserved because, and as you said, you know, you got to treat a man the way they treat you. And you have been nothing but kind in this experience. And I can't thank you enough.
Brother.
So it's like, seeing how happy and positive you are in your life really warms my heart. And today, present day, you had such an incredible run during your short run, but incredible. If the WWE approached you about coming back and doing something like the Hall of Fame, is that something you'd be open to doing?
Yes. I think, you know, being the first African American Intercontinental Champion, I think I deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think for sure. If they wanted you to come back in some sort of capacity, like some sort of guest role or something, is that something you'd be open to as well?
Oh yeah, I would.
I want to ask you some quick questions, just rapid fire. You could say as much as little as you want to kind of wrap this up. Does that sound good to you?
Okay.
Cool. Do you have a favorite musical artist?
Jermaine Dupri is mine.
Okay, good choice. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? The Avengers.
Classic. Love it. My I'm sure my girlfriend is listening to this. I was way behind my Marvel movies. I just saw the first Avengers movie, and listen, man, I'm catching up because I've been sporadic with my Marvel movies. There's certain characters that I lean towards. Like I've made sure to see all the Spider-Man movies and all that, but it's like I'm behind. Please don't judge me, Ahmed. All right. Do you have a favorite Marvel character?
My favorite character was Iron Man. I have to get the Iron Man.
Okay. All right. Good choice. I like that. Favorite agent to work with during your time in WWF?
Favorite agent? I'll say Briscoe.
What was it about Briscoe that you liked?
Well, really, he was like, I guess, signed to me. You know, tell me about my matches, who I had, what we've done, and kind of just grew on him from there.
Did you have a favorite referee to work with?
Not really.
Okay, fair. Is there one thing in the WWF you wish you could have done over?
Yeah, I wish I could have left in a different way.
Fair enough.
Or more thought.
Yeah, but like, you know, knowing the situation with your sister, I don't know. I feel like probably spending those last days with her, you know, if you wouldn't have done that, I can imagine that it could have been something that you would have regretted for the rest of your life.
Right. The only thing that I'm saying when I say I regret and just could spend more time is I didn't tell Vince the real story, because growing up like I grew up, as you did, we don't tell people our problems. Most of our problems, we suck them up and deal with them in a little ball inside of us and let it just fester in there. But I wish I would have told Vince the real deal why I was leaving.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. Flash Funk. Any thoughts on him?
Wow. Crazy.
He's still wild. I do shows with him all the time, and he's a character. I love Too Cold.
Dude, I love him, man. He was a good dude, man.
Any good Too Cold Scorpio stories?
Then I don't think he want me to tell.
Okay, I kind of figured that was the response I was going to get. Any Diesel memories?
No, not at all.
Not much interaction with Kevin Nash?
No.
What about Brian Pillman?
No action with him either.
Bret Hart?
Bret, super cool guy, man. Super cool.
Did he ever teach you anything that stands out to you in the ring or anything like that?
No, just stand back in the back curtain watching him, man. You can pick up on a lot of stuff,
Yeah, one of the all-time greats for sure.
Right.
A polarizing figure that's been in the media recently for a lot of wrong reasons. Any thoughts on Sunny?
Oh, who?
Sunny.
Oh my God.
Have you seen the recent news with her?
Yes, she's been a turd from the word go, man. I hate to say it, but she's been doomed from word go.
Yeah.
I mean, she never learned a lesson. And God knows she had the saddest shit to learn the life of somebody else,
Yeah. It's
I don't feel sorry for her.
it's a messed up situation. Any thoughts on Mankind?
Just crazy.
He
Crazy.
was definitely a wild man. Speaking of wild man, Mark Merrow, any thoughts on him?
Mark was always a cool dude too, man. He was always real mellow back in the locker rooms.
D'Lo Brown.
Not
a fan.
Dumbass. Just a dumbass.
What was the situation with D'Lo?
He'd go around telling people that he beat me up.
Now that you mentioned, I did remember hearing that in one of the interviews.
He said he put me in a full Nelson, and that was beating me up. So before Nelson, what you call beat up, you don't want me to show you what beat up's all about.
Yeah, could have been a different situation for sure.
Like in a full Nelson and say they beat me, man, I would kill D'Lo.
Did that happen?
No, I don't even know where D'Lo get that from. Him putting me in a full Nelson.
I think there's another story out there, some sort of altercation between you and The Rock. Did that ever happen?
Yeah, we had altercation.
What was that about?
About him just basically been running his mouth, but he shouldn't have been running it.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on Duke the Dumpster Droese?
I like Duke, man. I didn't have any problem with Duke, man.
Yeah, I had him on the podcast not too long ago. Pretty good guy.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. I never had any problem with Duke.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
One of the best.
He's a legend. Best. He's a legend for sure.
Yes, he is.
I guess that's all the names I got here. Do you have a favorite food?
A favorite food?
Yeah.
I'm a sushi man.
Okay. All right. I respect that.
I love eating sushi, man.
Are you a soup guy? And if you had a choice between chicken noodle or wonton beef stew, what would you pick?
Wonton.
I respect that too. Listen, I don't know why I'm going to end on that, but I'm going to end on that. I actually have one more question that I ask everybody before I ask that. Listen, I can't thank you enough for taking way more time than you told me we were going to take. So I definitely owe you one for this one. This has been one of the best interviews I've ever done. It's been a pleasure conversing with you and getting to know more about you. I know you're a father today, and I got to imagine that the tragedies that you went through as a child that really influenced you to raise your kids in a much different manner than you were raised. Right. Am I right? So maybe I know where this is going, but today, 2022, Ahmed Johnson, Big T, Tony Norris, he's lived quite the life. Today, what inspires you? What keeps you going?
My kids, you hit that right on the bucket. You hit that right on the bucket.
How many kids do you have?
Let me count again. 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ahmed getting busy.
Yes, indeed. They're all grown down there. They're all adults now. So now I'm by my lonesome again.
Oh, well, you weren't alone tonight because we had a nice conversation and I very enjoyable. I can't wait for everyone to hear this and get the feedback about it and maybe see a side of Ahmed Johnson that they didn't know was out there.
Right.
Because everybody has a story and you have quite the incredible story. And do you have any social media or anything, any appearances coming up that you'd like to plug?
No, not that I can remember.
If anybody would want to get in contact with you for autograph signings, personal appearances is a way that they can do so.
Just go to Facebook.
Just look up Tony Norris.
Yeah, Tony Norris or Ahmed Johnson, either one.
Sounds good.
Gorilla,
Tony,
I want to tell you too, man. This is one of the smoothest interviews I've ever done.
that
Don't you give this up, man, because you're too good at this.
I appreciate you saying that, but I think it's just because I'm obsessed with the WWF from this time period. I have notes in front of me, but I barely looked at them. It's very sad.
But even with your notes in front of you, I mean, your interview method is so smooth, and it's just so great. I didn't even pay attention to the time.
I appreciate that. That means very much. I'm going to keep going, and I just can't thank you enough for this interview, and hopefully we can keep in touch.
Okay, brother, no problem. Call me anytime.
Aaron, I was pleasantly surprised with that experience.
So was I.
At one point, Ahmed said, I treat people the way they treat me. And I had no choice but to show Ahmed nothing but respect because he was gracious enough to give his time to me. And I alluded to it earlier. There were previous interviews that he did in the past where maybe he seemed unhappy with his time with the World Wrestling Federation and in WCW. But in this interview, I feel like, maybe time has healed some wounds, and Ahmed Johnson seemed to really appreciate his time as a performer. And, when we were off air, we talked for a little bit longer, and he was telling me how much he misses the business and the camaraderie that came along with it. And I don't know. It was just, I didn't know what I expected out of this interview, but it's these weird, random, obscure interviews that I do for the podcast that end up being my absolute favorite. And this might arguably the best interview we've ever had on the show.
Dude, I didn't even think that was him at first.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, man, I expected this guy to, have this type of voice and look this certain way and have this type of an attitude. And he blew all that out of the water for me. So I hope the people enjoyed it because I really enjoyed this interview.
And there seems like there's this revisionist history because of the way that Ahmed has been portrayed on the internet over the years. Like, Ahmed Johnson. Like, maybe he wasn't the most proficient performer in the ring. Maybe his style was a little bit more roughneck. Maybe he didn't hit every move crisp and clean, right? But I know, speaking for myself, when he debuted in 1995, I was a big fan of Ahmed Johnson. If you go back and watch a lot of that footage, it wasn't like he was being booed out of the building. Ahmed Johnson was super over, arguably one of the most over guys in the Federation, especially in 96.
I'll tell you what, too. The promo style that is constantly made fun of now, I guess, that he had, I didn't care about that. He just seemed like he was a man who was intense. I didn't care that he was stumbling over his words. Yeah. I thought it was fine.
I don't
think
you're
angry, and maybe I shouldn't understand everything you're saying.
It seemed very realistic. And again, listen, there are some promos that he cut that are, ridiculous. But I feel like if we look back at our own promos, there's some promos that we've cut that are ridiculous. Again, maybe not our best work.
A lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So
I remember
I was okay with
specifically when he was cutting those promos at first against the Nation when it was officially formed, and Farouk up in the stands and Ahmed simply going, "You're going down," and the whole crowd chanting that behind him. Right. You're going down. You're going down. Like, it was over, man. Yeah. Ahmed was over as fuck. And
plus, he was the dive over the top rope, I think he was doing.
Yes. Before Taker.
Yeah.
Taker didn't start doing that until, like, the end of 97.
I couldn't wait to see an Ahmed Johnson match. And sometimes it was because I was afraid he was going to hurt somebody for real.
He was doing front flips. Again.
He did the first openly man-on-man kiss on... WWF television.
I mean, that was quite the moment. And,
it was one of my favorites.
We obviously explored that in the podcast. And I'm actually going to post a clip of not just the Goldust scene, but the aftermath. Because as me and Ahmed talked about, everybody talks about the kiss. But nobody talks about how he destroyed that jobber and threw him through the door after the Goldust incident. And just... I don't know. It was a true joy and pleasure talking with Ahmed. Actually, we talked about doing some extra stuff for Patreon this week, so I don't know when that'll be up, but if you want to check it out, patreon.com/irononwrestling. I'm going to talk to Ahmed about some of his early days in Global, which we didn't even touch on, his time in the Sportatorium, and maybe some stuff we sort of glossed over. I might even watch a match together with Ahmed Johnson.
I like it.
It's going to be quite the experience. Patreon.com/irononwrestling. $3 gets you in the door for the audio. $5 you're going to get to see the video footage. I'm going to be posting clips of the interview with Ahmed over on the YouTube channel, so subscribe to the YouTube. And yeah, I thanked him profusely on air. I thanked him profusely off air, and I'm going to say it again. Tony, thank you for your time. It means the world, and just what a joy and pleasure. Make sure you go out of your way to find Tony Norris on Facebook if you want to book him for autograph signings, personal appearances. Can't say anything but great things about him.
Hey, and no better advertisement for Tony Norris than to listen to this interview.
Yeah.
I mean, he really presents himself well, and it's somebody that now you have firsthand knowledge of working with, so you can tell the people, hey, man, it's a good time.
And also, again, listening to the interview, the man seemed to really appreciate his time in the business. I also think that he's maybe got this reputation as a guy who didn't know anything about wrestling. He openly admits that he was green and he was learning, and I don't know, he just seemed very humbled by the opportunities that he was granted and his experiences overall in professional wrestling. And just go out of your way to reach out to Tony on Facebook. He's a great guy, incredible human, and I look forward to having him back on the show.
And I almost forgot about this, but Tony Norris in the, I think he might have been in Global or something. He was down in Texas for a while. If you look up old footage of him, you can see him. He used to wear Sabu pants, and he would do the high flying style.
I want to check that out. I'm definitely going to talk to him about that. I went back and watched the Intercontinental Championship victory from King of the Ring 96, and if you don't want to watch it for Ahmed, if you're not an Ahmed fan, if you haven't been sold on him yet, and maybe want to see his wrestling with revisionist eyes, I would watch it for the Owen Hart commentary, because it is incredible. Maybe miss Owen that much more.
Yep, Owen would have been a great commentator. He would have had a hell of a podcast.
We are going to do some extended talking for the extended version of this podcast. If you're listening on Patreon, you got it a day early on Tuesday. You also got some extended content where I'm going to talk about my experience from this weekend, what I was getting into. Perhaps maybe I started working on the book that I've been talking about for a while with a little help. So I'm going to talk about that at Patreon, and we're probably going to get into some other business. What?
I'm glad to have lent a helping hand.
Okay, Aaron is not the one helping me with the book, I'll tell you that right now.
Well, ghostwriter.
For some reason, while we've been doing this outro, there's a lot of chaos in the background. There have been motorcycles riding by. We got a siren right now, so I think that means it's time to take it home.
Oh, and also the oven.
The oven went off. Yeah, we're making steaks, which you got for your birthday.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks from our patrons.
Yes, we got a nice little alpaca painting from Peter over on Patreon. I received 4 retro Mattel figures from Ryan Crosdalahala in the mail. I missed the pre-order.
Somebody got me a Sting. A Sting with it almost looked like the one with the Great American Bash.
That was a while ago. Pretty sure we talked about that.
All right. Well, thanks.
But
that's what I got.
We appreciate you guys on Patreon. Sign up, patreon.com/irononwrestling. Buttload of bonus content. Package coming in the mail for subscribers.
Al package.
An L package, if you will. And yeah, make sure you follow us on social media at Iron on Wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Find me on social media at Gregory Iron on Twitter, at Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook as well, facebook.com/The Handicapped Hero. Go to my Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/Gregory Iron, where you can find Gregory Iron shirts that are not printed any longer. Some newer Gregory Iron shirts, Aaron Bauer shirts are there, Iron on Wrestling shirts are there. You can even get a Rod Destiny shirt if you're so inclined to do so. Cameo, where you can book me for any type of shout out with Father's Day right around the corner. Maybe you want me to say something to your dad for you. I don't know. Maybe you want my dad to say something for your dad. Maybe that's a thing that we can make happen. Check me out there. Aaron, what do you want to plug?
I'm on Hotmail at
What?
alpaca at hotmail.com.
Okay.
And then I can be found in the 90210 chat room under the name I8A4RE.
Okay. Is that really what you want to plug?
At Fair to Air.
Didn't
at
you say
Fair
you
to
had
Aaron.
something you wanted to plug towards the end of the show?
Did I?
You said something earlier, or did your old man brain forget about it?
Probably.
Okay. Oh, that motorcycle pulling up, I think that's your B guy, so we got to go.
I guess we should kiss each other.
All right, here's a kiss.
Hold on. Let me put my Manscaped chapstick on. Here, hold on. I got it. Oh,
Nope, we're dead.
Ooh, this tastes good.